Good evening, everybody. Tonight, I'm going to talk. Let me fix this. Operations guy should be able to figure this out. There we go. So tonight, I'm going to talk about energy costs in the district, specifically sustainable energy initiatives and how they've saved us money, facilities and transportation, and building a future of financial strength and resilience. So sustainable energy for sustainable schools. Here, I'm going to talk about about utilizing existing resources on district properties such as geothermal, solar, and energy conservation measures to reduce CO2 emissions and mitigate the impact of rising energy prices on budgets and student programs. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is oil use and geothermal savings, then a reduction of CO2 emissions, do a little bit of electricity savings, and the budget impact from soaring electricity prices, and then a combined oil and energy and electricity savings. So this is important. Pay attention to this for a minute. I'm going to reference these guideposts in the rest of my presentation. Is the history of Putnam Valley and the energy use we use in the buildings here. 1935, the elementary school was built with coal-fired heat, and then switched to oil in the 50s. And then we built the middle school in 1972, and it had baseboard electric heat, which is the most inefficient and expensive heating system you could use. But I guess it was cheap to install. So then in 1998, a man named Paul Lee was our business official back then, was really a visionary, and did an energy performance contract at the middle school to get rid of that electric baseboard heat and use that savings from getting rid of that heating system to pay for geothermal over there. And so he liked the geothermal concept and liked the results of that installation so much that when they built this high school in 2000, he decided, and the board at that time decided to build this school with geothermal as its only heating and cooling source. So this campus here has never used oil at all. So never has an oil delivery been made here, which is pretty cool. 2018 was the next big move we made, and as an energy performance contract. We put a lot of solar installations. We did LED lighting upgrades throughout the district, a building management system, and we reduced electricity demand by about a third. And then we also, at the other campus, did a ground source heating, in other words, a geothermal system at the elementary school, and we were only able to afford 27 wells, which gave us about a third of that school heating and cooling with geothermal. Recently, the voters in this community approved a bond that is enabling us to do another geothermal project at the elementary school, which will complete the elementary school and get the entire district off of oil. And we'll also have a solar installation on the wellness center that will also help reduce electricity. So by 2028, I'm hoping 27, but by 2028, Putnam Valley will be the first school district in the entire country that has 100% geothermal heating and cooling across all buildings, and achieving zero oil use district-wide.
I'm sorry.
Great job.
I think that's great.
Me too.
It's a
Exciting.
huge accomplishment. So,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's good stuff. We're starting to get recognized nationally on that. It's one of the reasons why we got that Green Ribbon Award. So first I'm going to talk about the oil savings, and you can see the history of those events and how it affected our oil use here. So I have data back from 2010, and from 2010 to 2018, when we did that energy performance contract, this blue line is what the actual use was, but the red line which shows the average, and it was about 43,000 gallons of oil a year was used at that elementary school for heating, and that was on average, and it goes back further. And then the 2018 EPC, we were able to reduce it, and you can see the average there. We got it down to about 30,000 gallons a year. the blue line, it would have been better, but we had the windows open during COVID, and that blew our electric bill, our heating bill up a little bit over there. And then you see that big drop in 27, 28 to 0, which means we're going to use zero oil. Here's an analysis of the savings. This combines the actual oil use with the price. So you see huge peaks and valleys here because you have a cold winter and high pricing on oil. One point, that real 2015, 16, I guess the price per gallon was about $1.50 something, and it was not that cold a winter. And then you can see prior to that in 2013, it must have been a cold winter, and the prices were a little higher. Anyway, so you'll see the savings. That red line starts to happen in 2019 when we had the geothermal implementation over there, and so that represents the savings. And then the red line goes to the top, and we'll end up saving, about $140,000 a year. That depends on the cost of oil. I have it at $3.30 as my estimate ongoing. A gallon. I don't know whether that's conservative or not. It does fluctuate, but you can if it goes down, it'll be less of a savings. So all of my slides here will show a 20-year stretch that goes back to the EPC 2018 and goes forward to my predictions for 2038 and 39. And so that 20-year stretch, our oil savings from just the elementary school is $2 million. This had me thinking about what the savings from the middle school and high school geothermal installations would have been. So what I did was I took the gallons used per square foot per year at the elementary school, because we actually had another building that was just on oil in the same climate across town here. And I figured, well, if we see how many gallons per square foot per year the elementary school used, which at 43,000 gallons a year, and applied that to the other schools, we can figure out how much oil we would have used here. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So here we go. This is fun stuff. On the bottom here, the 67,000 square foot elementary school averaged 43,000 gallons a year. And if we apply that same math to the middle school, we would have used 41,000 gallons, because that's a slightly smaller building. And to the high school, would use 164,000 gallons a year. The district would have used 189,000 gallons of oil a year on average. And that savings over that same period of time, 2018 through 2039, would be about $12 million. $623,000 a year we save by not burning oil in this district. So I made this slide for you, Sam. So I wanted to see, from a pollution standpoint, what this would do and what that oil savings would deliver for us. So I looked it up on AI, which is a little ironic right now. That 189,000 gallons of oil would have produced approximately 4.2 million pounds, or 1,920 metric tons of CO2, which is equivalent to taking 800 gasoline buses off the road. So wow. 16 times more effective in reducing CO2 emissions than if we took all of our buses and converted them to electric. So that's pretty cool.
I like the savings this way. I do. Keep those electric buses
in
Albany.
I knew you would, Sam. And we'd still need air conditioning, because the oil just heats it, right? It doesn't cool us. So again, an ironic AI use here. No, this wasn't the AI. Yeah, it was. This was the law that went into effect in September of '25, that schools have to take action if the temperature in a classroom is above 82, and can't teach in a class if it's above 88. And in Putnam Valley, we never have to deal with this because our geothermal, besides providing the heat, also provides cooling.
Exactly.
And a lot of schools around the state are scrambling with chillers and air conditioning units and windows and huge capital investments to meet this mandate and be able to teach their kids when it gets to be that hot. And so this is that. And I also think, I know there's studies out there, I haven't done enough research, that I believe it's true that students and teachers will perform better in a comfortable environment if it's not 85 degrees in the classroom. Now I'm going to talk about, here. Some people will ask, so if you switch away from oil to geothermal, does that increase the amount of electricity you use? So I did the math backwards on this. I said, okay, well, we have a case study. We have 2 schools that used geothermal for many years while another school used electricity, and was able to figure out that, yeah, the high school and middle school did use more electricity per square foot than the elementary school because it was on oil. But it's a very small amount. It was about 10 to 15% more per year in electric use for these schools than the elementary school. So I did that math and really converting the elementary school completely from scratch, we did a third and now we're the other 2/3, is going to increase our electric use by about 50,000 kilowatts. Sounds like a lot. It's about $10,000 a year, which is nothing compared to the savings we're realizing on oil, right? So now the electric use. So here's our electric use, and I did the electric use as a district-wide deal. Because the bills, I get about 30 bills in, and they're very confusing. So I just took the total kilowatts in that, so I didn't break it down by building. So before the energy performance contract, going back to 2014-15, we were using about 3.2 million kilowatts a year district-wide. That red line is what I believe we would have used without any of our energy saving efforts. And so after the EPC, it really was a dramatic effect on our electric draw here. We reduced it to about 2.2 million. You can see there's a little spike there in 21, 22. I'd like to blame COVID, but we did have which had a little effect on it, I think, but really we also added a 14,000 square foot wellness center and added 4,000 square feet to the middle school in that project, and that heating, cooling, and lighting that space cost some money, so increased the electric use there. But we did get it back down to a level, so we're about 1 million kilowatts reduction from where we would have been if we didn't do any of those savings measures. You can see in 27, 28, I have this wellness center. Solar is going to produce about 240,000 kilowatts a year. The 7,000 square foot solar installation we're doing on the wellness center. And then you can see that little tiny bump up is where the geothermal from the elementary school, that increase kicks in there. And then it should average what I show here, which is about 2.3, until we get some other stuff done, and then we can reduce this further and drag that blue line down further. So I wanted to look up, so that's all the good news, so I'm going to give you some bad news here, right? So I looked up what the NYSEG rates were going to be for 2026, because I did notice, and I know I've talked to Jeremy and the board a little bit about dramatic increases in electric pricing and what that does to our operational budgets at the school. And next year, they're predicting NYSEG rates to go up by 23.7%. This comes from mainly the delivery. There's a supply and delivery. The delivery expense per kilowatt has just been skyrocketing lately for a lot of reasons that we're not going to debate tonight. So here is the price per kilowatt. Now, going back this is what we actually paid to date here. Now, going back 2014-15, when I got here in 2017, we were able to negotiate a deal with Constellation to aggregate and buy electricity with other folks, and got that locked in at about 11 cents a kilowatt hour. And then I still have that contract, but it's just for supply. The delivery is the one that's exploding, and I can't control it. So this is what's happened. We went from 11 cents a kilowatt hour to 16, then 18, then 20, and this next year I have it at 24. That takes into that 23% increase that I showed on the last slide. That takes that into effect. And then after that, I don't know, I'm not an energy markets expert, but I feel like we're going to have continued increases with the AI data centers and such. So I'm projecting a 5% annual increase in price per kilowatt after that. This stretch that we're in right now is a 120% increase. And I know folks at home are feeling this on your electric bills, but when a school district with this many square feet heating and cooling and everything else, it's a big number, and you're going to see it. So here you are. This is the actual. These are the actual bills on the blue line that we paid per year in electric costs. I don't know if you guys can see it that well, and I can't without my glasses. But we were at about 400,000 until we did the EPC and reduced that. That combined with the 11 cents kilowatt got us down to about $226,000 a year in electric costs. It was a little over $100,000 a year savings. It was produced by that EPC, the solar and all that stuff. Then, as you can see, as the pricing per kilowatt increases, I mean, the good news for sustainable energy is that the savings increases, but the bill also increases, right? So we're at a point now where we do have a savings of about $150,000. We're going to be up to about $250,000 a year from our energy savings, but we'll see the actual bills increase from where they were around $200,000 to about $600,000 a year. So it's about a $400,000 a year increase, and it's a big deal. So I see that like 4 teachers, right? So I wanted to share this with you, and that's what I'm projecting, this increase over time. And thank God we did all that stuff. Otherwise, we'd be looking at $900,000 bills here, $1 million bills. This is the funnest slide of all for me, because this adds up all of the savings from the geothermal at the 3 schools and all of our electricity savings. You can see the green is the electricity savings that just increased starting in 2018 with the EPC, and then you can see the oil savings at the high school and the middle school as well. And this same 20-year period that I talked about in the prior slides, from 2018-19 to 2038, this is an $18 million savings over 20 years. We're going to be saving $1 million a year because of our sustainable energy efforts in Putnam Valley ongoing. So I think that's pretty cool. So that's my favorite. So it more than pays for all that investments in the energy infrastructure here. So my conclusions. These are opinions here. That was all facts. Putnam Valley Central School District has made great strides in reducing its environmental impact and energy costs, establishing Putnam Valley as a national leader in implementing sustainable energy strategies. Putnam Valley has locked in tremendous energy cost savings and a huge reduction in CO2 emissions, future benefits of which will redound to the community with millions of dollars in district's operational cost savings, cleaner air quality, and reduced demand on the electric grid. Despite these achievements, skyrocketing electricity prices are creating an unsustainable increases in our operating budget, risking higher local tax burdens and threatening student educational programs. These are my ideas. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but I thought that I'd share. There's been talk of capping increases in electricity cost per kilowatt at a state level because of all these dramatic increases. I think that school districts, because we have to bear the burden of these increases in our operational budgets, and it really will either affect the taxpayers or the students or both, then they should cap the price that they charge schools on electricity. I'm saying 10 cents a kilowatt, and they should also incentivize school districts that reduce energy demand on their properties, and to promote both clean energy and reduce demand on the grid, which is one of the things that's increasing everybody's prices in their homes. And of course, that won't get done because I don't have a lot to say. But we can continue to act locally, and as part of our ongoing efforts here, we want to invest in more local energy production on school property. I obviously have some ideas for some rooftop solar at the elementary school. Solar canopies, we'll see, and some battery storage, some other ideas in the future. And I talk with our HVAC guy, Kerry, all the time about energy savings measures here without making it uncomfortable for folks. We on a snow day, we shut it down. When it's cold at night, we shut all the outside air off. We're doing occupancy sensors for not just lighting, but we're trying to do that in sections of the building for heat as well. So we're really also trying to drive down, with everything possible, drive down our costs of energy here.
David, before you move on.
That's it for the energy stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, pertaining to this, the solar canopies, we've talked about that before. With the parking lot being redone this year through the capital projects that the community passed, are you investigating those solar canopies?
We did. What happened was I had a lot of folks out here looking at that, and I actually had what I thought was even a better idea, to put a huge solar canopy like the one at Croton's train station. Do you see that one down there?
Yep.
Like that over the parking lot at the transportation building, because it's kind of out of the way, and if it's unsightly a little bit over that parking lot. What happened though, and we also looked at it out here in front of this school, the cost of the steel to support those solar panels became cost prohibitive right now. And we couldn't add it into, we talked about it with our committee on the capital projects, and it really, there were more important things to do with the money. So, but believe me, I still have it's on the drawing board still.
Yeah.
I'm working, we'll get it.
I think that's a good way to incorporate, the solar energy into the community and also your buildings. The canopy, they use that a lot in Massachusetts. I've been up there in New Hampshire. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
And they also,
our parking lots are here, though, they're also a little close to the schools.
Yeah.
So visually, I don't like visual stuff.
They're not
it
the
drives me
nicest
crazy.
looking
So
creations,
the place needs to look beautiful too, Sam.
thank you.
So thank you. Any other questions on the energy stuff?
Nice job.
All right, thank you. So just quickly, our transportation team, the district, as you know, we have a hybrid system, and the district has 20.6 FTEs. That includes office personnel, drivers, and monitors. And then we have a contract bus company that has about 40 drivers and 8 monitors. We, with our drivers and monitors, most of what we do are the out-of-district placements with special needs students, and the monitors obviously are on those buses to support those students, and that. So they've been doing a really, really good job. This Beacon Mobility app, we wanted to just remind folks that this is an option if it's minus 10 degrees outside. You want to see when the bus is actually going to get there. So you can get notified when it's a quarter mile from your house, so you can run out there then. And you would need to have apply for this app, you need to have a cell phone number that's in our system in Power School related to a student here, so you can't just spy on our buses if you're not one of our parents.
And I hear a lot of positive feedback on this Beacon Mobility.
I don't hear any negative, which is great.
No, in my area, Birch Hills,
Wonderful.
Crescent Lane.
Good.
You know,
They use it?
The parents use that all the time.
Oh, wonderful. Good.
They love it, really.
Good.
You know, they're able to park their car, especially in a bad day, really cold day. So be there when the bus arrives.
Right.
And they
Yeah,
use
yeah.
that app to time it.
That's great. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it's being used, and I'm glad people like it. So you can, go to this will be on the website, and you want to grab this app, or you can just go on your app, search for BC Family in your app store there, and get that. This was Monday. So that's behind the elementary. That's behind the elementary school. Those tours too. That's on the side of the elementary school. Ray took those. These guys, you can see them in the back. They're working in the dark. That was Monday night as soon as the snow quit. These guys come in. I just wanted to show you what I know for me, because I wasn't here. but just getting out of my driveway and my shovel in my walk was backbreaking. So you can imagine I just want to tip my hat to this crew, our operations team here that just worked their tails off to get this place in shape and get it safe for everybody. But I think these pictures, I'm going to save these because I don't know if we're ever going to have this much snow again.
Hopefully.
This is our operations team here. Again, this is the same as it's been as far as the number of FTEs for a long time, for like last 7 or 8 years. So we're not having any more, no changes here, and they do a great job. We have a great culture. We're promoting, from within, and really having some new hires that are really doing great. And as folks retire, we're able to advance people in their careers here, and it's really fantastic. So, speaking of that. It's Carl's last day tomorrow, so we're going to miss him.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just wanted to recognize Carl. He's a pillar of the community, besides working here for 32 years, and just a friendly face and a sweetheart of a man. I always walk away from every interaction with him usually shaking my head a little bit, but with a smile on my face, for sure, because he's so great. And he also, besides working here, before he worked here for 32 years, he worked at the town hall, and he did serve on the volunteer fire department.
Mm-hmm.
He still does forever, since he's 10, I think. So, yeah, I just wanted to recognize Carl. He's done a really great job for us. And that's it. Any questions?
Well, and I will say all of your staff does an amazing job, like really, like they take such good care of this building, all the buildings.
Yeah.
They really do a beautiful job, so.
Agreed. Thank you, guys.
Like, for example, this room is 25 years old, correct?
Yeah. Most
And-
people think it's like 5 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they do a great job with
The
the
buildings.
staff operations and the grounds and everything. So thank you, and thank you for the detail. I know it was a lot to put together, but it just shows your passion and just our overall savings for the community. So thank you.
And David, your cost savings for the electricity, especially the oil, because not a good thing. Very impressive. And I know that you spearhead that.
Look, I've been obviously passionate about it and spearheading it, but, it was boards of education back in the 90s who had the vision to invest, and Paul Lee.
Paul Lee pushed that.
My hat's off to him, because, he gave us a great foundation of sustainable energy to work from, and we just, this board and prior boards just picked that ball up and kept running with it, so, yeah.
And oil right now, you were talking about $3.30 a gallon.
I wish.
I just paid $3.94.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's gonna-
I should have made the
gallon.
savings more. I should have predicted 5. Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, go ahead.
I just want to call out to Carl also, because he was here when my kids went to school, and
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah.
don't know what it's going to be like to walk in the elementary school and not have him there.
I know,
So
we're gonna miss him.
congratulations to Carl.
Carl's awesome.
So,
He promised he'll come back as a sub. Don't worry, we'll see him.
We'll still see him.
Good.
So I did want to thank Dave for his tremendous leadership over his department. I know he probably quickly brushed over it, but our energy savings and the work that we've done here has now grown to not only state but national attention. Because of Dave's work, accompanied with others, Putnam Valley was recognized as a green ribbon school, which is extremely hard to obtain. We were one of 2 schools in the state to receive that recognition. Was that last year? We were invited up to the state education department. We were to a board of regents meeting. We got to meet with the commissioner, and it was really a huge accomplishment. And I know through that award, we began to receive outreach from across the nation looking for information on how we were able to achieve what we were able to achieve. So as usual, leading from the front. And I know that Dave was recently featured in a publication dedicated to sustainable energy and savings in schools. And I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit more about it. I don't know if it's even public yet.
Well, there was an article published nationally that they interviewed me while I was doing this work on this presentation. So I was really into it and gave them the data, and they were excited. So they featured Putnam Valley as one of about 7 or 8 schools around the country that did some work on this, and then that report was published in February, and then since then, some people read that report. I got interviewed. I came in during the snow on Tuesday when you guys were all home, but I was here working, and we had got interviewed for about an hour from a national editor of another publication, and that is, they decided after the interview that not only they were just going to highlight Putnam Valley as one of the schools that did some good work on sustainable energy, but after the conversation, she decided that she was just going to write an article just about Putnam Valley and what we do here. So looking forward to that coming out. And I think we'll get some traction and notoriety on a national level. I think it's happening, so I'm very excited
Outstanding.
about that.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
Congrats.
Good.
So,
So one other highlight just for Dave's staff. I know a couple years ago, which happens often, we have other school districts come to visit our schools, whether it be for our programs, our schedule, our facilities. But the school district was here for our facilities. And on their way out, the director of facilities for this other school district had somehow found out that I was the superintendent. So he went out of his way to grab me in the hallway. And this is someone who does this for a living. And he stopped me, introduced himself. I had no idea who he was. And he just said, I want to let you know that this is the cleanest, most well put together building I have ever seen in my professional career. And I would never believe it's 25 years old. So that, to me, is just a resounding statement to the commitment and dedication of our buildings and ground staff and for what they're able to do to this building to maintain its condition. So I do want to recognize them as well as Dave. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dave.